While the Premier League has smashed their transfer record by spending as much as £1.5 billion, and that's the business side of the game. No longer news that President Muhammadu Buhari, the #1 citizen in the country, has received a 10-year master plan report and definitely says football remains the #1 sport in Nigeria. And to this end on the show, we shall be taking a look at what is contained in the reports. Where do we go from a moment where Nigeria's green and white flag will not be hoisted at the biggest soccer fiesta, Qatar 2022 World Cup? We're counting down, and the tournament will start in the month of November. On that note, I bid you welcome to another moment where we thrill, inform, and entertain you. The program is Christian Sports Desk. Me and Akiri is my name, and you know what we do on this show. We call a spade a spade. We don't miss it with any fallacy. Let's go for a break. When we come back, I'll be having a special guest in the studio, and we shall be taking a look at happenings in Nigerian football.
TVC Sport Desk.
Welcome to the show proper. If you've just tuned in, the program is Christian Sports Desk, and joining me on set at this point in time is a member of the 10-year committee master plan submitted to President Muhammadu Buhari, and we shall be taking a look at all that is contained in that. And this has everything we need to know as the way forward for football and sports in the country. Mr. Yemi Idowu, it's nice to have you on the program Sports Desk.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, quickly, let's take a look at what the 10-year football master plan is all about. Can you share this with us?
Yeah, in a nutshell, the master plan more or less gives us an architectural view of what we intend to achieve within a 10-year period. And it also gives us a roadmap of what we can do in the short term and in the medium term.
Interesting. So, no longer news, like I said earlier, that President Muhammadu Buhari, has received the 10-year football master plan. But my question to you is, if this is adopted, what would be the immediate impacts from what this committee or your committee has recommended to the president of Nigerian football?
Yes. So what we have done is something strategic. The next layers of what has to be done tactically, also descriptively, and at the implementation stage is what is going to be left for the other stakeholders, meaning the state FAs and the players, themselves at the grassroots level. So what this architecture does is it gives us a roadmap whereby, I'll just give you highlights because there's a lot to say in a short period of time. We hope at the end of the day we're going to end up with a under-13 competition at all levels, a under-15 competition at all levels, and under-17 competition at all levels. So you play within your division, you play at your local government, you play within your state, you play within your region, and ultimately at the national level we have a competition which is going to be our own World Cup for all the age groups that will function every year.
Interesting. This looks like a master plan where in a country like Jamaica, small as Jamaica, how they take grassroots athletics seriously. Yeah. And today we've been able to see the likes of Shelley and Fraser Price, the likes of Usain Bolt produced by a country like this. But by and large, you are someone who is passionate and concerned about development of football in this part of the world. As a patron of National School Sport Festival, School Sport Federation, what are the impacts that this 10-year football master plan will have on School Sports Federation? We know that across the globe, we have what we call education and sports, most especially, in developed countries. What impacts will this have?
This is now a game changer for us, and I'm so happy, and not just myself, but my colleagues are very happy that we've been able to get this achieved. One of the things that the master plan allowed us was that the government gave an opportunity for all stakeholders on a neutral playing field to come together to say what we like. And all the things we all agree on, and the common themed items that we all agree on is what is inside here. So for the first time, the schools now have a roadmap on how they can integrate school sports straight into the competitive side of the sport. Now, you mentioned about Jamaica and Usain Bolt and Shelley Fraser. These are inspirational figures for their sport. One of the things that we are going to benefit from is that the minute you can create a linkage between what is going on at the school level, amateur level, and at the elite level, you're going to have, you're going to, provide inspiration for children to understand that if I do this right, this is where I'm going to end up. At the moment now, we have a kind of a top-down strategy, and there's too much focus on elite football and not enough at the base. But now, this is something where we're going to be looking at the base, the bottom part of the pyramid, and we'll focus there, and hopefully this will lead to people emerging at the top and the elite level of football.
Well, this is massive. But then, let's take a look at what the biggest plan when it comes to Nigerian football would mean if we take a look at these issues holistically. We've seen situations whereby we invest so much, in football at the highest level. Recently, we've seen Nigerians, administrators go to beg those who probably never had the interest of playing for Nigeria, go to beg them, come don the national team jersey. Some of them will tell you no openly, and then also go on social media, say no. But if we're meant to go back years ago, the likes of Erin Wosu is a product of school sports, St. Finbarrs, played for the under-20 from, St. Finbarrs. He went straight, to the youth setup, Stephen Okechukwu and the likes. And it seems the system does not probably believe in that anymore. Today, what we see, what we attend to, what we believe in is what is made outside the shores of Nigeria. How much damage could this mean to the youths in Nigeria and the confidence level of realistic developmental plans in this country?
Yeah, I'll answer your question using analogies and approaching it from 3 different ways. First of all, I think maybe allow me to change the word investment to spend.
Okay.
Nigeria did not invest. They spent money.
Okay, they spent money.
Yeah. So, and you only harvest what you sow. So this idea of not investing in the grassroots and then going to spend lots of money on a national team or a national team program where you go to other countries and try to persuade, British, German, Dutch individuals of Nigerian origin, where their own country has invested in them, and then you persuade them and beg them to come and play for Nigeria, has not yielded the result we want. And it makes the youth and the young people very sad that they were not given the same opportunities that these people have. So what this master plan does is it gives the opportunity for young people to have opportunity through all these programs to showcase their talent. And the system where the NFF is encouraged to only pursue elite sports will change. Because also you cannot blame the NFF. If you insist on, I want result immediately, then they have to do the same thing. You can't expect an NFF president to go and say, I'm investing in the grassroots, and when the results will come in 5 years' time, by that time you've chased him out. So he's going to basically invest in what is going to give him money now. So you have to look at 2 sides. Now, finally, what is the impact of this? We've missed out on the World Cup. We can sit down and do nothing or react. And this is a reaction that, okay, we've tried one side, and this is an ideology that needs to be amended, because the impact is this. Because we didn't qualify for the World Cup, the next qualification for World Cup, Nigeria will not be seeded. If we're not seeded, our ability to qualify even becomes more difficult. Limited. So apart from the fact we didn't qualify, there's so many more consequences which we're not seeing now, and we have to step in and intervene. What Ministry of Sports have done and what the government has done is what any normal business would do, and that is to intervene very quickly to put down a plan, not just for what is happening now, but for future generations to come. And the mistake, and I just want to add one thing, a responsible person doesn't look at what is there for him now. He thinks of the people that are coming later on.
Generations, yeah.
So, yeah, generations. So this is responsible.
Interesting. But are you worried, as the vice chairman, of this committee, are you worried that these could probably go down the drain as some of reports that have been put together, plans that have been put together in the past to restructure sports in Nigeria, which never yielded anything? Are you worried? Are you disturbed?
This is where the beautiful thing about this report, lessons have been learned about what happened in the past. So when this report was being done, we did a literature review of all the previous reports. At the same time, all the stakeholders were asked to contribute. And when the report came out, it went through the Nigerian Institute of Sports, to the Ministry of Sports, to the presidency. So what we did on that day was not a submission, but it was the president accepting and giving the go-ahead that we go and implement. No other report has gone that far in Nigerian history. And no other report has the kind of joint collaboration as we have here, because Nigerian Football Federation, Nigerian Olympic Committee, they're all part of this. And so I think at the end of the day, we all agree, and anybody you talk to, that we need to have our own local competitions functioning again.
Interesting. Well, if you've just tuned in, you're watching the program Sports Desk on TVC, and in the studio I have one man who is interested so much, passionate with development of football, and interestingly, he's also a member of the Reforms Committee, bringing a 10-year football master plan that was received by President Muhammadu Buhari, the #1 citizen in the country. If you want to continue with the Georgia session and you're watching on TVC Entertainment, you can join us on other platforms. Anywhere you are across the globe, you can follow us on YouTube Live, TVC News Live, and then enjoy the show. You can also join us on Channel 418 on DSTV, Go TV, Star Times is also there, and you can indeed continue with the Georgia session. The president, made mention of the fact that football is Nigeria's #1 sport.
Yeah.
And it says it is the responsibility, I'm quoting him, it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that there is proper development and an enabling environment for the round-letter game.
Yes. Before I respond to that, I want to encourage everybody. I'm sure if you can, try to read the report, the volume 1 of the report, and so that you can look and see where you can contribute and what aspect of it is relevant to your area of endeavor. At the same time, one thing that we need to understand is that when people go out to represent Nigeria, they're wearing the green and white jersey of Nigeria. They are ambassadors of Nigeria, and they project Nigerian image. So when the football team does well, Nigeria's image is improved. So it's a no-brainer that you have to invest and support the development of football. Football is also a unifying factor for us in Nigeria. So if you neglect football, that's another thing removing from
crisis.
Yeah. But whatever you can do to improve football is something that just to add to the unification of the country. It's also something for the youth to look forward to. Whether you're watching, you're participating, you're supporting, you're doing something, it's also something, because there isn't much now for people to smile about.
That's it.
But this is one of the few things that make us happy. And so whatever we can to try and bring it back on track, we'll do it.
The Nigeria Football Federation election is just around the corner, in about a month from now, the 30th of September. And there have been, concern, about this election. But let's take a look at some of the components, how some of these reports in the master plan, can indeed reform and restructure football in Nigeria if properly followed? Because it is important that the NFF also buys into a master plan like this. But with the election around the corner in about a month, what are your thoughts?
I think they're on two tracks. The election of the president of the Nigerian Football Federation should not affect this plan, and this plan will not affect the election
proper.
So in this plan, there is a proposal or advice, recommendation that the executive, the board of NFF is expanded from 16 to 17.
Okay.
And that is not it's
From
not
16 to 17.
Yes, that's all.
To be expanded.
It's not, and then, of course, the Congress to be expanded from 44 to 111. But that, again, is just an advice, you know. So it's recommended to try and...
Now, I would want to borrow a word you used not too long ago, and I want to take you back to the first time Africa hosted the FIFA World Cup. Between 2009 and 2010, there was a presidential task force set up to ensure that the Super Eagles qualify for the biggest soccer fiesta. And the footballers were motivated, given as much as $20,000 each to indeed win matches and all that. And we've also had instances whereby football federations and administrators complain that they don't get enough money. We've seen instances where they say they are owing players and all that. From this master plan, is there a solution, you know, to some of all these problems we've had in the past? Panic situations where we'd have to spend so much money and say we are motivating players, and then we say, okay, from instead of paying them $5,000 or the usual $10,000, then there is a committee that comes up and says, okay, you get $20,000 and all that. Both this in any way ensure that we avoid, you know, situations trying to say we are bought in some crisis in football in Nigeria.
We tried very much to stay away from that type of input because it's a strategic document. Most of things to do with how much is paid to players and things like those are operational issues and at the implementation stage. But one thing that there is that if you follow the strategy, what will happen is that you will have competition for places, you'll have better quality managers coming in, you'll have administrators with integrity coming, proven integrity coming in, and the outcome will be that you have less default on payment promises. You'll have less of a need to incentivize people with money. People are more likely to love to play for their country, and they will be encouraged to play for their country. And of course, they'll be given financial inducement, but not to the point where it's mercenary.
Interesting. On a final note, before I let you go, what are your thoughts, you know, on sports in the last couple of months in the calendar year 2022, coming from the Commonwealth Games, where the women were awesome, winning 12 gold medals. Asisato Shola also winning the African Woman Footballer of the Year award for a record, you know, 5th time. What's your take on the average Nigerian woman?
Yeah. I think there are two things I want to take from this. We must recognize that these successes you see is as a result of the hard work by many, many people who have supported these women to get to where they are. And I'll be very grateful if there's a way to shine a light on all the people in the background, the coaches, the administrators, civil servants, even though people don't like to say it, you know, from Ministry of Sports,
very
and
important.
The Athletics Federation, and all the people who have supported these women to get to where they are. Secondly, the children and the young people. When you talk about inspiration, this is something that we should build upon going forward. In the Commonwealth Games, while Nigerians were packing up for 2022 Games, other countries were announcing their 2026 plans.
That's it.
Already, immediately after Commonwealth, they were launching their 2026 plan. You know, we were just, you know, everybody's happy. But people were planning Australia, Kenya, everybody was, you know, they had their 2026 plan. So, and that is the lesson for us. If you want to repeat or do better than that, your 2026 plan should be in place. Your 2024 plan should be in place. So that is what I'll round up on that.
Mr. Yemi Idowu, the vice chairman, and that's one committee that had a master plan, a 10-year master plan, a decade plan for the most populous, game in Nigeria, football. It's received already by President Muhammadu Buhari, and we hope that this will indeed yield success for Nigerian sports. Many thanks for being a part
Thank you, sir.
of the show, Mr. Yemi Idowu. Well,